why there's feedback, but okay. So when I finished school and university, I did my master's. During university and everything, I worked all the way through my 1-2 jobs. I worked, a couple of jobs through university and everything. So when I finished my master's and was looking for a job, I found it difficult. I had some opportunities, but it wasn't until my CV landed on the Big Brother Nigeria team that I got a call that I needed to get to Nigeria like the next day, that they want to hire me as for production crew on Big Brother Nigeria. And that really kind of now got me going in the Nigerian side of the industry. Obviously, I've been aware, I've watched all kinds of films, Dark Goddess, Sophia, the Sophia series and everything. So, but it was a great opportunity for me. In England and America, I've been working as intern, production assistant on films, and I'd been modeling throughout. But really, it wasn't until I came back to Nigeria that I got given a real opportunity to really get stuck in. And it was a 3-4 month contract, but it was hectic. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Big Brother Nigeria because they just did a season. But you don't see a lot of what happens in production, right? And there's similarities when it comes to social media. You don't see a lot of what is really going on the back, right? What a lot of people show you is just the surface. It's just the image. It's just the effigy. It's not actually the work that's been going on behind. So 90 days, you're there 90 days, but just as the housemates are in there 24 hours a day, you too as crew, on the other side, you're there 24 hours a day for 90 days. So you really get to understand the mechanics of how certain things work. Anyway, from there, I got a job at Mnet between SA, going back and forth. And then from there, I became GM of Storm. So you guys will be familiar with Storm Records and Storm, Obi Asika and Asa Asika and Nato C, Kachuku, all those people. So I worked with them. And eventually I decided, that I wanted to break out on my own, go out on my own. My dad has always been an entrepreneur and always kind of encouraged us that one day you people, you must start your own business, however, which way you're going to do it. So I felt like I had learned on other people's money. So I advise you to do that. I'd learned a lot from other people on other people's time and money, and felt that, okay, I'd saved up a bit and I can open a small production business, consulting, editing scripts, doing productions, coming up with production Bibles, pitching, doing corporate production jobs, etc. So that's kind of like my background of work, and that's how I ended up starting Tee Off Media. Now, in terms of my personality, I've never been someone who likes to be on the front. Yes, I was a model, but I wasn't model as me. I wasn't being Tonye. So for me, I'm not really someone who likes to be on the red carpet. You never saw me on the red carpet, maybe once or twice in like 10 years. I don't do, it's just not my thing. I'm not into that. So personality wise, I'm a worker. I'm someone who gets behind, I get the work done. I'm not interested in fine boy, fine girl. And it's important to understand what your motivation is when you want to follow a particular path or career. What's your motivation? Your motivation, your primary motivation cannot be money. And your primary motivation cannot be that it's all about, the image. That will only get you so far. Because at times you'll be, we're all disappointed. But the thing that keeps you going is your motivation. And you need a long-term motivation. Yes, short-term, obviously, we all need money. We those are short-term motivations. Oh, it will look good. But really, what's your real motivation? What's your reason for doing this? What is your impact on the wider world? What's your impact on the environment? God forbid, if something happened to you today, what's the legacy you've left behind? And I always say now that it's a responsibility for us people that are here to try and leave an example or try and help with in any way we can, others out there, those younger ones, those coming up, because we're in an environment where a lot of people have neglected that responsibility. We have, as citizens, have to take on that individual responsibility. So going on about my life, I got married to my best friend in 2012, and we had our first child in 2013, and his name is Ugo. And then in 2015, we had our second child, Simsim, or Simone, but we call her Simsim, and hence the title of the Ugo and Simsim books. They're actually based on my children. Now, when I started having children, getting married, you know, I made a decision with my husband that any child we have, first 2 years, hello, Edith, nice to see you. First 2 years of each kid, any child we have, I would majority be at home. I could consult a little bit, but for us, it was really important that those first 2 years, a child must know you must bring up that child. And if we could manage that financially, that was our goal. Now, it was just a few months after her birth, we returned back to Nigeria, say when she was about Christmas 2015. Now, it was in January 2016, I started getting worried about my daughter, and she had a choking incident, and I knew baby first aid, and I was able to do baby first aid for her, and I took her to the doctor, and the doctor was like, it's not like she looks like it or she's showing any of the symptoms or any of the features I would normally look for, but something is telling me to test your daughter for Downs. I was like, Downs, okay, but no problem, let's test her. And it came back a few days later that she has Down syndrome. Now, nobody had picked it up at all. She didn't look like she had Downs. Nobody had, even in my anomaly scans when I was pregnant, nobody had seen anything, nobody had heard anything. Fine, no problem, she has Downs. What's the next move? So the next thing was to get an echocardiogram, because about 60% of children with Down syndrome have some kind of heart issue. It's usually minor, but hers was severe. It was life-threatening, and they gave her a window of like 6 months to live if we didn't do anything. So that's really when life changed. And we had to bundle her up and head to the US because they couldn't do the kind of heart surgery she needed here in Nigeria. We had to put out all worry about finances because we just said, well, if we are in debt, we're in debt, but we have to save her life. But anyway, long story short, what should have been a 3-month journey became a 2.5, almost 3-year journey to saving her life. And eventually in 2018, we were able to relocate back to Nigeria. So when I got back, you know, the kids, you know, children, they settle in so well. My husband was so happy that we were back. And they were settling down. The kids had gone to school. I'd sent even Simone to school, and they were just settling in well. Family, friends, brilliant. But me, I was not happy because I was lost. You know, when you have children, there's a phase that mothers go through that you kind of lose your identity. But with my experience, it was quite severe with everything that went on. And I truly, I didn't know what direction, because I didn't know who I was anymore. You know, I'd thrown everything, I'd given everything, I'd emptied my tank, I'd given everything. So my identity was wrapped in my family, not in myself. And when I could pick my head out of all the hustle and bustle of making sure everybody was okay and everybody was out of the house, I was confused. I'm like, okay, wait, I actually don't know what I'm meant to be doing. What am I meant to be? Who am I? You know, all those existential questions began to happen. So, yeah, it was a hard time for me. Came back. And so thank God I have an understanding husband who stayed throughout all this special needs issues and is still here. And he just said to me, you know what, Tonye, you have worked your behind off, not only before we had kids, but for the kids and myself. You know, you've worked, take some time, you deserve some time to kind of just think about what you're going to do. So I took my time, which was hard for me. It's hard for me to stay still. As Victor knows, I'm always doing like a million things. And I had to force myself. And, you know, God has been good. I really discovered, you know, a relationship with God during the experience in the US and the UK and then coming back. And it was really like finding that relationship with God and understanding that the message I got was stop, wait, listen. And so I spent months just waiting, listening. And one day, my children were playing, and Simone was struggling to handle a toy. And Ugo just said, "Oh, Simone, you need help. Let me help you." He did it, and then I was like, "Oh, bing!" Light bulb moments. And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And I just thought, "Ooh, there's a story here." And I start thinking, okay, maybe I can write something. Okay, maybe I better think about what my children are consuming. Maybe there's some stories. And that was just an initial kind of light bulb. It wasn't concrete. It wasn't until maybe about 2 weeks later, my son came to me and was like really upset because he was just angry. I said, Ugo, why are you angry? What happened? He said, you know, these people, they come to the house every day to play with Simone. I asked to play with Simone and I'm not allowed, and it's not fair. So what I then gathered that what he thought was people coming to play with Simone was her therapists coming every day. So I said, oh, now I understood why he was so angry. And I explained to him why they came. And that opened up a can of worms because I said, oh, no, you know, because your sister has something called Down syndrome. What is Down syndrome? Hey, trying to explain to a 4-year-old at the time. I was like, okay, well, chromosomes are, Down syndrome is when you have an extra chromosome on the 21st pair. Hey, what's a chromosome? Hey, Jesus. So I was like, Kai, how am I going to explain to this boy? So I said, okay, you know, I explained it as best I could. And then I looked for kids' books or stories that featured children with Down syndrome so that it would help him to understand that what diagnosis his sister had. Because to him, it's just his younger, annoying sister. There's nothing wrong with her. She's just annoying, you know? So I struggled with finding those. There were stories, but there were only Caucasian people, nothing with Black people. Then it's only one-off stories, so you can't follow and identify with the characters. So then I kind of took that light bulb moment from when they were playing, and then this conversation that we had, and started writing a story. Ugo and Simsim, what is Down syndrome? And it was initially not meant to be published. It was just a story for my children I was going to do just for my children. Then I started having conversations with people who found out I was back. One of them had a child with Down syndrome. And once she was back, she came over and she started gisting with me, and she was weeping. And she was weeping and she couldn't stop. So then I understood from that conversation that all the knowledge I had gathered in the 3 years of my experience with the heart journey and being able to educate myself about therapy and what I was going through could actually help people. And I never thought that would be like, you know, helping people in that way. You know, you never know what your journey is. And she said, when I now told her, oh, I've just written this book for my children, I'm just going to do a nice print and give it to them so they understand. And she was like, no, you have to publish this. Are you mad? Like only for your children. So then I began to understand, okay, I actually need to make this a thing because there's a need. And then people just started contacting me, and people started reaching out to me and asking me questions. And then I just found stories started coming, and I wrote 13 stories in the space of maybe 2 weeks. Currently, I've published 4. But I just couldn't get them out fast enough. So I realized, okay, well, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. So I said, okay, let me start publishing these books. Let me maybe get onto Instagram, because I wasn't on Instagram or anything like that. At least just connect. But I wasn't focused on that. My thing was, let's get the books, let's print, let's do a test run, and let's see how it does with the first one. And it did well. And so I started, talking with schools, working with special needs awareness programs. But my problem was, okay, I've made this book, and there's not a lot of places to distribute. There's not a lot of stuff to distribute. And I've already started working on the cartoon version. Where am I going to put this stuff? Okay. And then you find that there's not a lot of avenues for distribution. Then at the same time, my son, again, a lot of these conversations that come up seem to come from my son. So my son started saying that, oh, he's white, and he wants this kind of, Ronaldo hair. I was like, number one, you're not white. Number two, your hair is different. You have Afro hair. So I had to start paying attention to, actually, what's he watching on YouTube? Number one, what is he watching on TV? Where a black family, yes, we have been able to travel and live abroad for a little bit, but my children were majority, with Nigerians and with black people. So where are you getting this notion that you're white? Okay, he's yellow, or we're not white. So you start to understand that what these children are consuming, they're absorbing. And they're building roadmaps of life using this distorted stuff they're absorbing. So I now had to work to balance, make sure we're consciously looking at content of Black kids. And then I started searching for content for Black kids, content for Nigerian kids, and struggling. So I was like, okay, maybe I have to look into this. And me, I never like to do one thing at once. I don't know why I didn't just focus on book and doing book, but then I did book. And now I'm doing an entire platform called Simone's Oasis, which is we create content for kids, for our Black African kids, and we aggregate content for Black African kids. And we're currently in the stage now of testing a streaming app. So the streaming app is music on demand, video on demand, and books on demand, because we had to tackle the issue regarding distribution. In Africa, there's no content for kids. There's no budgets for kids content. And I know a lot of you won't be aware, but here, if you want to be on TV, your content wants to be on TV, you pay for airtime. Meanwhile, you're the one making the content and giving them the content. So I just decided, we have to do a new roadmap. We have to collaborate. Collaboration is the key for whatever industry you're in right now. You must collaborate. You cannot survive right now without collaboration. And so we've been able to generate a lot of content. We have our YouTube channel, which is working in the meantime while our app is being built and developed and tested. And we are finally at the stage where, thanks, Victor, for letting me know that we're able to monetize. Finally, it's been a long journey. I am not a technical or technological person, frankly. In fact, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I call myself a Luddite. I struggle with it. However, I have learned some, but also you have to make sure you collaborate with people who pick up on where your weaknesses are. So their strengths are your weaknesses, and their weaknesses are your strength. So that when you collaborate, you really can make an impact. My concern in terms of things wasn't about my number of followers, because because of the nature of what I'm doing. It's not fashion, it's not lifestyle, it's not beauty products and things like that. It's actually about our life, and it's actually about our Black and African children, whatever their ability or disability. So for me, I had to step out from behind and really make my life's journey my life's calling, because I really feel that this is why I've been put here. And so it's intimidating, it's scary. I have bouts of anxiety, you are fearful, but at the same time, I love to create content. And when we're able to connect and help people, and when you see children watch your content and be over the moon and loving it and giving great feedback, and you get that great feedback from parents, but also when you get criticism, especially constructive criticism, because that helps us to understand, okay, maybe we need to tweak this, or if it's valid constructive criticism. So you shouldn't be afraid for criticism as well. And I had to step from behind and step in front. I hate public speaking. I get jitters. I feel nauseous. But I've had to put that phobia aside. And it's been a phobia I've had for decades. And just say, what's my goal? What's my motivation? I know that God has put this goal for me, but I look at my children, I look at Sim and how brave she is. And I'm like, no, I need to, and I just whoop myself in shape. I said, see this child, everything she's gone through, and she's smiling and she's happy and she's going with it. And me, I'm complaining. No, I don't have a right to complain. Let me move. Let me do what I can. You cannot want to enter the digital arena or whatever arena and think it's going to be a smooth ride. It's not. You have to be game for challenges. We have had a lot of challenges, and we continue to have a lot of challenges, but our eye is on the goal to be the #1 education, entertainment platform for Black and African children worldwide. That is our goal, and we're not humble about it. That is our goal. There is so much need, and we've put the gbese on our head to try and address it. Because I think COVID brought to light a lot of the need that people were ignoring, but there's only so much that can be done. And it requires everybody to collaborate, parents to wake up, government to wake up, corporates to wake up. But in the meantime, we're not waiting for anybody, and you don't have to wait for anybody. If this is where you want to be, if this is what you want to do, we live in an age where technology has democratized things. The technology has given access where there was no access before. And so you have an advantage. It's about really looking within yourself, understanding what your motivation, understanding what your goals are. And sometimes your goals are your end goal is so massive that it's intimidating. You don't know where to start. So it's important to kind of break those things down step by step so that you aren't overwhelmed. And that's it really. You just have to really be tune in to yourself and to understand oneself. Yes, I mean, everybody else has told you about the industry, the arena out there, but really my journey has been internal. And it's once I started moving on that internal journey that it became an external journey. And it's really, I would say, and Victor would probably agree with me, it's a journey that we've been working on for about 2 years, and it's just now we're starting to make the impact. So it takes time. You have to give it time. And we're just starting. I know that in 2 years' time, we'll look back on this and we'll be so small now compared to where we are going to be in 2 years. So just keep striving, keep having hope. Don't let anybody tell you that, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? If you are 100% in your conviction, go for it. Because the worst thing is to look back with regrets. I don't regret anything. I think that's okay. Let me take questions. I'm sure there's some.
All right. Thank you so much for that, ma. Thank you very much. All right, guys, you've heard any questions? Are there any questions? Tony, you sell children's books. She writes children's books.
Yes.
So any questions? Any questions related to? All right.
No, I don't have any.
Pamela, you want to say something? Tony, we can't hear you. Hello?
Maybe
you can type the question. We couldn't hear you.
We could not hear you. Yes, it's better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, let me type. Can I
we can hear you. We can hear you. Just go ahead.
Can you hear me now, right?
Yes.
Can you hear me now, or you prefer me to type?
We can hear you. Just speak.
What I'm saying is that, well, I've not really talked about Nigerian books, but yes, I'm already talking. I'm speaking already. What I'm
She's out. Something, she just disappeared. She's out.
You know, Victor, what I would say to you is send her my video from last week.
Okay. So so I'll do that. I'll send her the video.
Okay, my question. Good afternoon.
Hi,
I don't know
Pamela.
what time it is. Okay, hi, Mrs. Pamela Agboga. Okay, my question for you. How did you know to grow? Like, how did you diversify? Because you started out wondering, sorry, where I am is very noisy. You started out wondering, who am I? What am I going to do? And then it came, you found out your children's lives, you wrote their stories, and then someone said, okay, make it into a book, sell it. And then you've gone all the way up to, from a series, you've gone into a production house, right? As in you've expanded.
Yeah.
Yes. It sounds very simple, but how was that?
Simple. It's not simple. So I'm very honest with people. I don't like to form. So I can be overly direct sometimes. So forgive me if I'm a bit crude sometimes. But look, I kind of did things backwards because this was an organic journey. Usually you would look at your markets, how you're going to sell your product before you even start making the product. But because my motivation was driven by my personal need, I had a product. Now the problem was, okay, is distribution, is selling, is market. Okay, because there's not a robust market. So I just did, with my background in TV and film production, I was able to kind of speak to a few people in the industry, but also kind of talk to also people in the publishing world and really get a feel for what was going on. Because don't forget, I'd been out of the work markets for a few years because of the children, and then additionally more than I expected because of the cardiomyopathy, heart failure that my daughter had. So I was really out of the loop. So I just took the time to kind of understand what was going on, and I was like, okay, then what is my options here? What are my options? And then I understood that people have been making stuff and are still struggling because there really is no ownership of distribution, right? There's limited distribution, and then the ownership platforms are not really there. So if you think about it right now, if you make a video, you make a kids series or whatever, even if you shoot a series with your phone for kids, what are your options for distribution? Your options right now are YouTube, but how long before you can monetize? Then you have other platforms like Netflix or Amazon, but they will tell you they're not looking for that kind of content, or they're on just a completely different road than what you want. Okay, fine. Let me go. Not everybody still. A lot of people don't have access to data, even if they have a phone. So people still watch TV, and so you still need the traditional broadcast avenue. And as I said earlier, here in Nigeria, it's done backwards, which still doesn't make sense to me. Why you are giving content that they need, but you are paying for airtime. So that means that cuts off a lot of people, because who can afford without a sponsor, right? Or without a brand sponsor or bank sponsoring or something to pay, however many millions for airtime. Usually what happens in other markets is that you license your products, you agree on a licensing fee, they pay you. So I understood that. I was like, okay, well, we're still going to do these routes. We're still going to do the YouTube. We're still going to do traditional broadcasts, which we've been able to do. We have our YouTube channel. We're on Star Times as well. But really, how are we going to make an impact in this market? And that is to take ownership of our distribution. So I started doing research on streaming apps. I'm finding there's not one streaming app that was focused on Black kids. Now, since there's a couple, but still not in the mind's eye and method that we have put in place. And don't forget, there's plenty of room in the market. It's not only Netflix in this market or Amazon. There's Hulu. There's Roku. There's Mobdro. There's so many kinds of streaming apps. However, a lot are limited in terms of children's content, and very limited in terms of Black children's content. And I feel that we are at a disadvantage as Nigerians, because they will just disregard you just for being Nigerian, or say that nothing of quality comes from here. So I spoke with some people, and we started, I've been developing an app for we got disappointed the first time, we had to scrap it, and then we began again last year. So I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I've wasted some money, but I've also made a lot of giant strides along the way. And that's the journey that everybody will have. You can't succeed all the time, and you will fail, but it's what you do with those failures and mistakes. And I'm sure I will continue to make mistakes, but the key is right now, you have to own your product, own your distribution, or at least collaborate with people who have your best mindset in terms of, or your best interest in mind in terms of distribution. And the mentality that I am trying to change, and we are trying to change here, is that colonial mentality that says that it's only things from abroad that are worthwhile. It's only things from abroad that are good, because I can tell you 100% of the work we have done has all been Nigerian made. Every single person, creative, even our book printer has been Nigerian, because I took it on myself to prove a point. So also trying to change perceptions, and I learned that from the special needs journey of my daughter, because we are also trying to change perceptions about special needs, about Down syndrome, which is why we've opened up our lives, why I show my children on social media, so people really understand what it's like, that it's not a curse. Nobody has cursed you. It's not at the end of the world. In fact, it can change your world. It's changed our lives for the better. And I've learned a lot that I can apply into my work life from my home life. So they've actually become kind of one and the same. And I've understood the importance that we must take ownership of our stories, and we must take ownership of our platforms. And we need to understand that we are Nigerian and that we have quality, we are worthwhile, we are good, we are valuable, and we have a story to tell that the world needs to hear. And we ourselves need to stop holding ourselves back and stop saying, oh, you know, it's made in Nigeria, it's not so good, it's Nigerian now. Oh no, give me the foreign one. We have to start changing that mindset. You know, there's no reason why bookstores, why should not be carrying Nigerian books. I'm sorry, in this 2021. And that's why I said Victor should send you guys my rant from last week, because I'm on a mission. And you guys, whatever, if you're entering the digital space, it is a space built for this mission. And whatever you're doing, whatever your brand, whatever your goal, you have to, mediocrity, you know, we need to stop this mediocrity. You need to give it your all, because we need to show that anything from Nigeria is good enough for the international stage. In fact, it's better for the international stage. And that means even you, with your small business, with your couple of 100 followers, you need to make sure that what you're doing is done to the best of your ability. You learn your craft and you own your craft. Ownership, ownership, ownership. That's my advice. Make sure you own everything.
I love that part. Pamela.
Yes, thank you so much. I listened. Yes, I am. I'm so grateful. I learned a lot while listening to this part. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it was like I said earlier. People keep asking me, so how do I create content now? How do I create content now? And I'm like, if only you just observe your environment, if only you just look around yourself, there is content staring at you in the face. I told a particular lady, I said, just go to Oshodi, sit at that bus stop, just spend 10 minutes there. You will see enough content that you can use for whatever you're using. So it is just for you to be able to recognize it when it happens. Like in Mrs. Tonye's case now, when she saw those things happening, she recognized it. All right. Some people would have seen it and say, and I saw that they play, Moku leave them, made them play, give this one puff puff, give this other one zobo. It's just a regular thing to those people. But having the eyes to recognize it is the key. All right. Having the eyes to recognize it is the key. There is content everywhere. All right. Okay. For example, when you watch Big Brother Nigeria, what is the content there? People's lives. They're just living. All right. They're just living, eating, playing games, concert, all those different things that they do in the house. That's all they are doing, and you're just recording that, and that's heavy content. All right. So that's what content basically is. What people are doing. Just sit down, recognize those things, look for those patterns, and it can form a major thing to help your business grow. All right. Don't always feel that it has to be one glamorous thing. All right. If you watch Miss Tonye at times, she just records her video with her phone. All right.
Yeah, I'm not glamorous. I'm not glamorous. I just put small blusher and lip gloss and eyeliner for you people. Otherwise, you just see me as my regular self. Victor knows. But to be honest, he hits a point. That's part of our brand. So the fact that not everything is polished, the fact that I'm a naturalista, the fact that it's just regular, has become one of the staples of our brand. And we're finding that people connect to that because we're not so polished, because it makes them feel, oh, well, she's like me. Or they're like me. They're just not, a normal family. Or she's just, a struggling mom. And so so because of that, it started off because I'm just lazy in terms of that aspect of things. But people have picked up on that and have identified with it. And thank God they did, because if I was to do all that influencer makeup and stills, yeah, we wouldn't be here today. Victor is really so correct with that. And I just wanted to add one more thing. you have to recognize what your gimmick is. Okay? What is your story? What's your gimmick? What's your niche? What's your point? You know, what's the voice of your brand? You have to have a clear voice for your brand. Okay? Because otherwise you're going to be tossed and blown around like the wind. Okay? So in that, you might say, yes, I want to be a digital entrepreneur. In fact, I want to be an influencer. Well, of what? And why? And what's your angle? There has to be an angle, because that helps you focus what your content generation will be. Okay, otherwise you're not really going to have a voice, and it's going to be hard for people to connect with you.
That's true. People connect with those things. Those imperfections make it, what it is, And many of us, we always think, when we think content creation, we always think, Mnet, Hollywood movie. It doesn't have to be all of that, right? Just small. Look at some of the videos that go viral. Just look at some of the videos that go viral. Are just regular videos of people just doing stuff. Somebody just stayed somewhere, recorded it, and boom. All right. So
the back that's happening in the industry right now. So this is something, because, for example, we've been told to send some of our content for review by the BBC. Now, this is the battle that's happening internationally right now, okay, is about your technical specifications for productions. The world is changing, content is changing, right? And a lot of content now is being made with phones by non-professionals, by amateurs.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the most well lit, it's not the best audio. It's not, there's so many things that quote unquote are wrong with it from a professional productions point of view. But the content is gaining viewers, millions. Okay. So now in terms of, broadcasters, BBC, all the, let's say NBC in America or Fox or whatever, here in the international broadcasting world, these are the heated conversations that are happening now. And they are obviously a bit slow and behind, because right now, this is how content is being made. Content is being made by phone, by people who are telling the stories that they want to see. So yes, there's still going to be these huge productions. There's still going to be these, massive professional influencers with, 3 million followers. But you're still, if you notice what is happening, it's the regular Joe blogs on the street that is creating content that is hitting with people. So again, technology has allowed the democratization to happen, and you can take advantage of that. And I'm telling you, we're going to start seeing it on the broadcast side, because they will have to give in and widen their technical specifications, because of the fact that hundreds of thousands or millions of children are watching this content. And if they want to sustain their business, they're going to have to reduce the barrier for technical specifications for content, because they want to survive.
That's just the truth. That's just the truth. So sometimes when I say, okay, for example, that was it 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I was watching, it was Al Jazeera, and we're talking about Myanmar with these issues of protest and all. The videos that they had were all taken by phone. All right, those are the videos that they had all taken by phone. All right, look at this protest, like the Nigerian protest. A lot of the videos that you had on were all taken by phone. So phones now are like the cameras. All right, so people are capturing content every opportunity. So the thing I would always say is, are you capturing your own content? All right, capture the content around you. Take the images, take the pictures, take the videos, record the videos, record those shots. All right, Start putting them together. They are telling a particular type of story. You can now capture several of them and now stream them together and tell the story you want to tell with it. All right, and that's basically what it is. It is just simple. It might not be easy to recognize that type of content. So my advice usually is capture everything. All right, now sit down and go through, then cut it, rearrange it, now tell the story that you want to tell. All right, but capture everything. Do not fail to capture it. Okay, I don't mean when maybe you see an accident that happened on the road, you now stand there and start recording. No, help those people. All right, that one, help those people. All right, but I mean your own content creation. All right, important stuff that's happening around you, capture it. All right, because you might not have the opportunity to tell that story with all those images later. Just capture those things, stream them together, put them together, and tell a fantastic story. All right, so are there any other questions? Do we have questions, guys? Okay, if we do not have any other question, I think, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the story. Welcome. Yeah, thank you so very much. I just want to say something, right? Before now, all right, I had never met anyone that has been as open as you about DS. All right. Most people you meet, you would never know that they had or they have a child that has DS. It's maybe somehow you just get to the house, then you now see somebody at the back of the house somewhere hiding. They say, so there's another child. They say, yes, so but in your case, you are so open about it. It doesn't make you feel that. It doesn't, like, some people feel ashamed of it. All right. I like the way you are about it, and I like that you have recognized that has become a story to tell. All right. It is an area that I'm sure nobody will think of telling a story, from that part. If you are told them, you have a life now, why not just do and record your kids or do stuff? I'm sure they probably just focused on Ugo, and left Simpson. But I really like that you do this. I am very committed to stuff like this. As in, I love it. All right. When I met you for the first time and I thought that this was what you do, I was like, this is absolutely awesome. So, thank you for being a blessing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Victor will share my social media handles at Tonye_F at Simon's Oasis. Yeah. Yeah, so get following us so that when you start your own digital marketing or your digital platform, we can also kind of keep an eye on your story, what you're doing, share your stories as well. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be collaborating with each other.
All right, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. All right. Bye-bye.
So much.
All right. Thanks. So we going. Okay, guys. Now